Welkom bij een podcast van ZWEEDSE In deze aflevering spreek ik, Nynke van de Nadort, met de Zweedse Felicia Budin over de mentale gezondheid onder Zweedse studenten.
I don't really know what comes next. I'm just doing my best, even though I'm so stressed out. Everything just feels like a test that I failed.
I'm on the phone with Felicia Budin, and today we're going to talk about the topic health and well-being. Felicia, can you tell me something about yourself?
Well, my name is Felicia, as you just heard, and I live in Sweden, and I am 23 years old.
All right, and how do you currently spend your spare time?
Well, most of all, in my spare time, I like to read books and also hang out with my friends.
What kind of work study do you do, and what are your short-term goals at the moment?
I go to med school in the north of Sweden, Umeå. And my goal is to graduate within, I think I'm done in 3 years.
In 3 years?
And then I want to move to Stockholm and start working.
All right. And what kind of work do you want to do in the future?
I want to work with children, like parents who give birth, and I want to work with that.
All right, like a midwife-ish.
Yeah, like a gynecologist, maybe it's called. I don't know what it's called in English.
Well, that's a good choice because I read there weren't many midwives and places to give birth in Sweden, right?
No, exactly. It's like maybe you have to travel really far to get to a place to give birth.
Yeah. Well, that's a great choice then.
Hopefully. Maybe stressful.
You read books, and what are your hobbies aside of that?
Well, I like to work out, and I like secondhand shopping and plants. I love plants.
All right. And what kind of workout? Just going to the gym or?
No, more like going running. I like that.
All right. And is it possible with the weather, or is it like a hard job to find some time or good weather to go running?
Yeah, that's really hard. And you need to have these spikes underneath your shoes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, because it's really slippery.
That's funny, yeah. Let's begin with mental health, because I found research from the Focus on Myndigheden, and it points out that the last 10 years, the percentage of Swedes who suffer from stress and anxiety increased with 11% to a total of 42% of the Swedish population. Like, do you see the effects of that around you?
I would really say that you can see the effects of stress. And also, I mean, I study med school, so all of my friends are really stressed. And I feel like it's so normalized now to have anxiety. All of my friends are like, I mean, almost all of them are like, yeah, I have anxiety this weekend because I haven't done this and I haven't done this. And I needed to have time to do the laundry and also study, but I didn't have time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like a constant culture of stress, like it's normal, or?
Exactly.
Yeah. And do you also suffer from those kind of complaints? Like you see yourself getting stressed out or anxious?
Yeah, I would say I get more anxious than stressed out because I try to really make plans for the day. I put up a planner and I make sure that I have time for everything. But I get more anxiety. I feel like I should have done more.
Oh, right. Like you haven't been productive enough.
Yeah, and it's almost like you have to be stressed here to be good. Like if you're not stressed, you're not doing enough.
And is that only in your branch of work, or is it like overall students or people from your age who carry this with them?
I think it depends. I mean, I'm from the countryside. And I have some friends who are like farmers who didn't go to school. I mean, they went to high school. And I don't think they experience the same stress from what I've heard, but I think that they experience the same anxiety over things, but maybe not the same stress from the surroundings.
Yeah, and well, while looking at your environment, where does the that come from, where your friends are stressed out constantly and you are, and everybody is anxious over everything. Can you point something out that like feeds it, like makes it bigger or just starts it?
Something that I've always heard is that Swedes are really hardworking. For example, like I've heard people being so surprised that they go to like McDonald's in Sweden and they're like, what is going on here? No one is looking at their phone. Everyone is running. Everyone is like really hardworking. And I think that's just such a big culture, because if you're not, you're going to get fired. Like if you look at your phone once, I wasn't even allowed to bring my phone to work. I had to leave it in a locker downstairs every time I went to work. And I worked at Nynke. It's like the biggest supermarket in Sweden.
It's indeed a culture, maybe. It's in the air almost, you would say.
Yeah, maybe. And also from parents, a lot of parents are like, oh, you only got a B? Why didn't you get an A?
All right. So you already get brought up that way, and then your school environment and work environment will continue that cycle, or?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And well, the complaints about mental health and like anxiety and stress, they are typically like low complaints, like a lower layer of mental health problems. But are there any how accessible is the healthcare, like the help you can get for those kind of problems? How accessible is it in Sweden?
From what I've heard, the waiting time to get to speak to a psychiatrist, and that is very long. But I also know that we have my university, which is a pretty big one in Sweden. They have, I don't know what it's called in English, but they have people you can go to and speak to if you have a lot of stress, and they can help you plan your life a little bit better.
Oh, right. Like a mentor.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
You can go speak to if you feel sad or you have a lot of stress. And also there's always a priest at school you also can go and talk to if you are experiencing troubles. So maybe in school, but I think people who are outside of school have a harder time because they have to wait in line to get to speak to a doctor about their problems or a psychiatrist.
What kind of things would you see as triggers, like fuel the stress, like throughout the year, and now you're 3 years in your education and you're stressed about school? What led up to that?
I think it's just, how much it's going to be, because you've always heard it from people online. You've heard that it's going to be so hard and it's not going to get easier until you're done. And also when you come the first day and they show you the goals of everything that you're going to learn over the first semester. And then it's like 50 pages of just things you have to know. And then you're like, how am I going to have time for this? And then you go home and you start planning and you're like, this is too much.
Yeah.
I think that's where the stress is starting.
Like the workload they already put on you.
Yeah, and also, as the research gets, when they come up with new methods and new medicines and stuff, I have to know them as well. So they just keep adding things, but the program doesn't get longer. So I have to learn more and more and more things in a short period of time.
And could I call it then a culture of like pressure on students, but also Swedish people who are just pressured constantly in certain types of work areas to
or like overachievers.
Would you call it more like the culture of the Swede, like it's in the Swede, like you're born like this, or is it something that developed through the years and is just seen as normal now, like a normal environment? How would you call it?
I think maybe because Sweden was really, really poor in like the 1800s. and then it got really rich,
Yeah.
maybe people like have that still in their head because it wasn't that long ago that people think they really, really need to work hard, otherwise they're gonna end up there again.
Yeah.
That they were taught from like their ancestors, maybe.
Yeah, and also like the big things like the seat belt, the 3-point seat belt, Volvo, Saab, also IKEA, Spotify, I think also is from Sweden.
Yeah.
Like all those big things are all from Sweden. Like it's maybe a product from that kind of culture in the work environments in Sweden.
Yeah, it probably is. I feel like they're creative as well.
Yeah,
Not
also,
me, but some are.
yeah, and a lot more free thinking. But also, do you feel like you have to accomplish certain goals to match like your environment, to not getting stuck behind?
I think it was more when I was younger. It was kind of more because then you could get grades. There's no grades in med school in Sweden, so it doesn't matter if I get 100% or 65% on the exam. So for me, it's just like, as long as I pass, it's fine.
Yeah. You just score points like, all right, let's go next.
Exactly. But I think when I was younger, when I had grades, I think there was a lot more stress. And if someone got an A and you got a B, you were like, oh, you didn't even want to say that you got only a B. I mean, only. It's a really good grade, but if someone else got higher.
Was it, because I had some pressure from my parents too. Like, I'm at home and I get a paper with 6 and I'm glad because I passed it. And then my parents were like, well, it could have been better, right? Is it really like achieve as high as you can, like lower, just below is not the mentality we're looking for? Or
I really had that with my dad. If I got a B and I came home and I was really happy, he was like,
yeah, but
that's not an A. Like, why are you happy? But my mom, she was just like really happy for me. But my dad was really strict like that. Yeah. And he always wanted me to go for like a higher paying job, like even when I was a kid, and I didn't know what that meant. Like if I said something, he was like, no, not that. You're going to do something better, because he thought so.
Was it also in your surroundings that your friends maybe if they got a B, they were like, no, don't look at my...
Not all of them, I think. But most of them, especially the girls. I feel like the guys, when we were younger, they had more space to just be guys.
Oh, right.
But we had to be like the good girls, I think. Like,
you've got them brought up like a perfectionist, maybe even.
Exactly.
Yeah. How do you think, compared to maybe your parents, when they were younger, how do you think the younger generations or the current young generations are having more trouble with mental health in comparison to when your parents were younger? Or
I think, in a way, I think people didn't know so much about mental health when my parents were young. They're born in the 1950s. I don't think they knew what anxiety was back then. But also, I think social media has made it a lot bigger. Like if you go into Instagram, you're going to see people who seem to have it all. They seem to have time to go to restaurants every single day. They seem to have time to work out, to have the perfect body. And they also have time to travel and go to school, and they do everything, it seems like. And then you're like, why can't I?
Well, do you find yourself suffering from that?
I suffer from it so much. I have deleted Instagram, not my account, but just the app, because otherwise I go in and I scroll on the explore page and I see all these girls who are living a life that I can never have because it's not real. But I just don't realize that when I see it.
And what do you think when you see those kind of pictures, those kind of accounts, people?
When I see them, it's like I forget everything that I know. because I know they don't have that life. I mean, if I just look at my own Instagram, that's not my life. That's just like, I take the best parts of it.
Like you're almost selling yourself. Like when you're selling a car, you won't show the rusty parts and the scratches, right?
That's really true, actually. That's good said.
Yeah.
You only show like, it's like a commercial of who you are.
Yeah. How important do you think your mental health is?
I think it's really important. That's over everything. It doesn't matter if you have a good job or not, if you're not happy.
Mm-hmm. But do you lose sight of your mental health sometimes?
Yeah, I think so, because a lot of the times, in order to reach my goal, I think that when I reach this goal, I will be happy. So it doesn't matter like how bad I feel during me reaching it, because I just think when I get there, it's going to be so worth it. It's going to be so good. But then you get there and you have a new goal because you're never satisfied. So
yeah, and you're drained from the last, from crossing your own boundaries, right? Then you're there and
exactly.
then you're like, wait, now I'm here, but I'm stressed out.
Exactly.
What kind of boundaries are important to draw for you?
Honestly, I don't think I have any. If before a test, to me, the most important thing is to pass. I'm not going to let anything get in the way.
Yeah.
I will study no matter how bad I'm feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I will stop to eat and sleep. But otherwise, it's just I do nothing for myself like a month before the exam.
Does it feel like holding up?
I think because I'm really, really interested in what I'm doing. It's also fun. But when it's something that I don't like the chemistry parts, it's not fun. Then I can just be like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. But if it's about diseases and medication, then it's fun.
So do you get from some parts of the things you have to learn or do, you get also energy?
Yeah, probably. Especially like if someone asks me about like, how does this work with the body? Or someone says, oh, I just got this medication. And they ask me and I get to tell them and I actually know, that gives me satisfaction.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess it's like you want to feel like you know a lot of things.
Can you phrase what makes Swedes suffer from these kind of mental health issues?
I think the overachieving culture in Sweden is so big, and you get it from your parents who got it from their parents. And it's just like the most beautiful thing you can show to someone is like, I just bought this new apartment. I just got this new job. That's like the best thing you could say to someone.
I think then maybe the social media is a great invention for Swedes then, if you point it that way. Like the achievements.
Yeah, you can show off.
Yeah. Is that why you deleted a few types of social media?
Yeah. Also like FOMO. If I saw people were doing fun things and I was like, oh, I have to study all week.
All right. And did you feel the pressure yourself to uphold those social media with your achievements or find achievements to share?
Yeah, maybe, but also like I didn't want to be a show off or brag, because there's really a fine line.
Oh yeah. Last question. Do you have any advice for the generation below you about this topic?
Well, like from the younger generation, to put pressure on like their bosses, their principals, like the school, their parents, to just say chill a little bit. Like we're not 10 people. We can't do 1,000 things at the same time.
Is it necessary to maybe kickstart a change to the culture that's currently hanging around in Sweden?
Yeah, and also like telling people that it's okay to say no. You don't have to always say yes. You don't have to like always stay at work, even if you have 1,000 things to do when you get home.
Is that something that's hard for Swedes to just start doing?
Yeah, I'd say so. Like you don't say no. No one expects to hear that.
Nice. Well, I think I'm leaving it at that. Thank you so much. It was really nice speaking to you.
Thank
You told
you.
me a lot of cool stuff and great stuff I can use.
It was really nice to talk to you too. I hope you can use something.
Bedankt voor het luisteren. Wil je meer horen, zien of lezen van de Zweedse Standaard? Bezoek dan onze site voor de verhalen over gezondheid en cultuur uit Zweden.
And I don't really